Mao Zedong didn't invade Taiwan largely because of a combination of military, political, and international factors that deterred him from launching a direct assault. This video will break down each factor with specific examples to clarify why Mao Zedong didn't invade Taiwan. 1. Military challenges. Geographic barriers and logistics * Taiwan's location about 100 miles across the Taiwan Strait posed a significant logistical challenge. The 1949 attempt to seize the island of Kinmen, Quemoy, which lies much closer to the mainland, demonstrated these difficulties. The PLA launched the Battle of Gunning-2 on Kinmen with thousands of troops, but was repelled by KMT forces in a fierce counterattack. This defeat underscored the difficulty of conducting an amphibious assault even on a small scale, let alone a full invasion of Taiwan. Limited naval and air power * the Chinese Civil War had left the PLA exhausted and ill-equipped for a naval campaign. By contrast, the KMT had more developed naval and air forces thanks to U.S. support. The U.S. supplied Chiang Kai-shek's government with surplus military hardware and training, providing Taiwan with a modern defensive advantage. The PLA's limited navy in the 1950s lacked the amphibious capabilities necessary to transport, land, and resupply a significant invasion force across the Taiwan Strait. 2. International pressure and U.S. intervention. Korean War influence and U.S. involvement * After the Korean War erupted in June 1950, the U.S. quickly acted to prevent further communist expansion in Asia. President Truman ordered the U.S. 7th Fleet to the Taiwan Strait to prevent either the Communist Chinese or the KMT from launching attacks. This intervention essentially created a buffer zone, making it impossible for Mao to attempt an invasion without risking direct conflict with U.S. forces. Taiwan as an anti-communist ally * Taiwan's strategic position became even more significant as a Cold War foothold for the U.S. in Asia. Throughout the 1950s, the U.S. increased military and economic aid to Taiwan, reinforcing it as a bastion against communist expansion. In 1954, the U.S. signed the Mutual Defense Treaty with Taiwan, pledging to support it if China attempted an invasion. This formalized commitment made any attempted invasion of Taiwan a much higher risk for Mao, as it could trigger an international crisis and potentially a larger war. 3. Economic constraints. Post-war economic recovery * After the Civil War, China faced the monumental task of reconstructing a devastated economy. Industrial and agricultural production had been severely disrupted, with infrastructure in ruins and millions of people in poverty. Mao prioritized economic consolidation through policies like the First Five-Year Plan, 1953 to 1957, focusing on infrastructure and heavy industry rather than investing in an invasion. Costly Korean War involvement * Mao sent hundreds of thousands of Chinese troops to support North Korea in the Korean War, a decision that further strained China's finances and military resources. The economic impact of supporting a costly foreign conflict reinforced the communist leadership's need to focus on internal stability rather than an expensive and risky invasion of Taiwan. 4. Strategic and ideological considerations. Failed attack on the Dachin Islands, 1955. Mao tested his ability to challenge Taiwan's control over offshore islands with a campaign against the Dachin Islands, located off China's southeastern coast. While the PLA successfully occupied these islands after the first Taiwan Strait crisis, it was not a decisive blow to the KMT's overall strength. The U.S. response, providing naval escort to evacuate KMT troops and civilians from Dachin, reaffirmed America's commitment to Taiwan's defense, deterring Mao from escalating the conflict further. Long-term revolutionary goals * Mao saw Taiwan's eventual liberation as part of the broader communist struggle against imperialism, and he believed that time was on his side. By consolidating control over the mainland and strengthening China's position over time, Mao aimed to create conditions where Taiwan's integration would become inevitable, potentially without an all-out war. He was also deeply engaged in implementing his revolutionary ideology within China through land reforms and collectivization, which demanded his focus on consolidating communist power domestically. 5. Nuclear deterrence development. Pursuit of nuclear capabilities * China's ambition to develop nuclear weapons in the 1950s and 60s shifted its strategic outlook on Taiwan. By 1964, China successfully tested its first nuclear bomb, which altered the balance of power in Asia. With nuclear capability, China could assert regional influence without directly confronting the US or attempting a high-risk invasion of Taiwan. Nuclear deterrence allowed Mao to hold off on a full-scale military conquest, while still keeping pressure on Taiwan as a renegade province. 6. Continued use of proxy conflicts and political pressure. Second Taiwan Strait Crisis, 1958, rather than attempt a full invasion. Mao chose to use artillery attacks on the islands of Quemoy and Matsu in 1958. This aggressive action, known as the Second Taiwan Strait Crisis, aimed to test U.S. commitment to Taiwan without escalating into direct invasion. The U.S. responded with strong support for Taiwan, but the conflict remained limited, allowing Mao to put pressure on Taiwan without committing to a full-scale invasion. If you like this video, please encourage our team by clicking like button and subscribe our channel. This will motivate us to make more such videos.